try to produce their magic against Manchester United, and it's a Manchester United side that's somewhat depleted.
Well, it is, and the question is also about the defence, because the defence is very definitely one that is going to be patched together. You see the game conditions there, a bit chilly, but not as chilly as other parts of the Champions League, such as Moscow these days. But the big question is, these are both two sides with somewhat vulnerable defences and a great attacking philosophy. Should be a wonderful evening.
Yes, it really has all the makings of a cracker. So we pause for the UEFA Champions League anthem. Manchester United in their change strips this evening, all in white. Ryan Giggs, fresh from Wales' triumph over Azerbaijan last week. They're on top of their European Championship qualifying group. Hakan Yakin in the centre there for FC Basel, the man who really makes this team tick. An Australian there, Scott Chipperfield. At the end, the former Wollongong Wolves player. It's a big night for him. He's just back from injury. It's a very trim little ground, this. And Basel hope it'll be one of the venues for Euro 2008 if the Austria-Switzerland bid is successful. Got a bit of competition from Scotland, Ireland just at the moment. A decision expected on that front on the 12th of December. An electric atmosphere inside the ground. All the smiles on the faces of the FC Basel players. The good news for them is that the three players who were doubtful have been declared fit. Murat Yakin, Bernd Haas and Ivan Ergic are the men in question. Antonio Esposito is suspended, so in comes the aforementioned Scott Chipperfield.
That's right, good to see him back from injury, but the two Yakims are the keys. Will the Murat Yakin in the back be able to hold off the likes of Van Nistelrooy, but Hakan Yakin in midfield, number 10, the attacking midfielder, absolutely shredded Liverpool, and Manchester United will have to work to contain him.
Manchester United make two changes from the side that beat Newcastle United 5-3 in a thriller on Saturday. Laurent Blanc injured his calf in that match. Phil Neville returns from suspension to take his place, while Juan Verón plays from the start at the expense of Diego Forlan.
And in the middle, O'Shea and Brown in the back four. That's the first time this duo has played together. These youngsters, very much the future of Manchester United. They're key tonight. And I also mentioned who's going to be the man marker in midfield.
We'll look at who's on the bench. Meni Huber is fit again for FC Basel. Hervé Toom is there, the Cameroon striker. And for Manchester United, a couple of youngsters. Kieran Richardson, one of them, available to Sir Alex Ferguson. The referee is the 41-year-old PE teacher from Moscow, Valentin Ivanov. Manchester United brimming with confidence after their weekend display. A 5-3 win over Newcastle United. A stylish performance. And FC Basel have proved that they're more than a handful here on home soil. They took care of Celtic with Hakan Yakin playing a starring role just to get into the first group stage. They did the business twice against Spartak Moscow, of course. Two draws with Liverpool, one with Valencia, but now a very different test. Manchester United have come to the St Jakob Park, and it promises to be very intriguing indeed. And they're on the offensive right at the beginning, with Julio Rossi trying to cause havoc inside the box. Christian Gross, the man who was a bit of a joke figure during his days with Tottenham Hotspur in England. But my goodness, he's worked wonders at the FC Basel helm. Hakan Yakin with the Basel corner, and off the line. Quentin Fortune was back there, but that's driven in by Christian Jimenez. A goal by the Argentinian striker. I made it with only 32 seconds on the stopwatch. Unbelievable scenes here in Switzerland. Jimenez, the top scorer in the Swiss League. He's managed 13 goals this season, and Manchester United unable to deny him here.
Well, Chipperfield had the shot here. You see it cleared off the line. There's the cleared off the line beautifully by Quentin Fortune, but no response to the second shot as it's driven into the corner and then flicked on. Chipperfield had the shot, and Jimenez touched it home, but it was all the hungry players from the home side dominating throughout the play from that corner kick.
And now at the other end, see if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can get in behind the Basel defence. Not on this occasion. The fans shout out the name of Christian Jimenez, the Argentinian striker, who finished with aplomb.
Well, terrible defending too by Manchester United. They lost the initial header. They weren't alert to snapping up the shooting opportunities.
But now they must pay attention at the back. Shooting possibility. Paul Scholes just playing off the main striker, Ruud van Nistelrooy. Grim-faced Sir Alex, but a long way to go.
Well, Sir Alex was said, or maybe he was misquoted, but there was some thought about getting out of here with a draw would not be too bad. Even a scoreless draw, but I think a scoreless draw is about the least likely. Of course, it's out of the question now, but it always seemed to me the least likely possibility for two sides that love to go forward. And United very much caught on the back foot in the early going.
As Basel really were up for it from the very beginning, going for the jugular straight from the kickoff, forcing the corner. And then the goal by Christian Jimenez. Here's Murat Yakin, the brother of Hakan. Both Swiss internationals. Ivan Ergic trying to work his magic. Man who has Australian citizenship, even though he was born in Yugoslavia. And Ergic, of course, was the hero in their 2-2 draw with Valencia. Scored both goals for Basel that night. Two Argentinians up front for the Swiss champions this evening. Rossi and Jimenez. Jimenez who scored the goal. Might be in again here, that high hanging ball. Fabian Barthez is there. So shaky start here from United.
Well, Barthez didn't know much about either of the shots, but I don't think you could totally blame him. Cantalupi it was who won that header from the corner. That was cleared off the line by Quentin Fortune. And then the follow-up shot by Chipperfield, which was deflected in by Jimenez. Jimenez, such a good partner to Julio Hernan Rossi up front.
See if United can get Ruud van Nistelrooy involved. Goal machine of late. It wasn't a bad ball by Solskjaer. But Tubba-Bühler, the goalkeeper, is there to pounce on it.
Well, there's Solskjaer doing some of the damage he did in like manner against Newcastle United. Good wide right positions. Set up the first goal, a brilliant ball against Newcastle. He's looking for that same style of play.
And Haas playing it right back, still on loan from Sunderland. 24-year-old, moved here to Basel after qualification for the first group stage had been assured. There is Haas. And Rossi's a real box of tricks. Perfect foil for Jimenez. Complement one another so well. And Van Nistelrooy has Solskjaer making the run out on the right. Going to play the David Beckham role this evening for United. Veron. He's missed out Sir Ryan Giggs. And Nistelrooy. Trying to get to the byline. Dazzling play by Ruud van Nistelrooy. To try to skin Murat Yakin. Basel can be very quick to break. Good play by Cantalupi. And Yakin, the playmaker, that's just offside against Rossi.
Well, they can be quick to break, as you mentioned, Dirk, but they can also be vulnerable on defence. We've seen Van Nistelrooy and Solskjaer have lots of joy on the wide left and wide right positions. Just offside there by half a step. But the wide right and wide left positions worked so well for Manchester United this past weekend. Sylvester coming up to telling effect on the left-hand side.
Van Nistelrooy. Forward by Veron. Giggs couldn't get there for Manchester United. Pascal Tubba-Bühler, the goalkeeper who worked with Christian Gross at Grasshopper. Listed with Bayer Leverkusen as Barthez comes swiftly off his line.
Oh, you see what he's trying to do, get the team to pick up the pace a little bit. 1-0 lead, I think, means nothing in this match, to be perfectly honest.
Yes, we expected goals aplenty, even before a ball was kicked. Basel lead by 1-0. Jimenez finding the net with only 32 seconds on the stopwatch. Ball scores. Good play by the versatile Ergic. Good work again by Jimenez. Chipperfield, former Australian Player of the Year. Thirteen goals for Christian Jimenez in the Swiss League. Now 3 in the UEFA Champions League. Timothée Tuba, the Cameroon international left-back, and a chance maybe for Rossi. It's Silvestre who drives it out of the danger area for United.
Good pressure by O'Shea too, getting over the early jitters that he and Brown showed on that initial corner kick in the first minute.
Long ball by Murat Yaki, and the offside flag is up. Veron. Murat Yakin barring the door after late fitness test. Picked up a leg injury in a collision with Elhadj Diouf of Liverpool. Matchday 6, good play again. Rossi, and Bartes in trouble.
Oh. Boy, let Newcastle United game revisited from the weekend when Bernard chipped him to tie the match at 1 apiece. And he almost got caught again. This one is soft, takes a little bit longer time to get there. But he does look to be in deep trouble.
Well, that's another whirlwind start from FC Basel. Shades of what we saw from them against Liverpool just a fortnight ago. Roy just trying to play off the shoulder of the last defender, Tsusi. Scholes and Veron. Mikael Silvestre. Quentin Fortune, South African international. Now Veron. United taking the sting out of the game. Philip Neville playing it right fullback this evening, followed by Veron. There is Chipperfield.
It was a very poor ball from Brown, though, wasn't it, who came forward to help out.
Ryan Giggs. And Scholes. And to work his way forward. And cleared by a Tuba. And the pressure is off the FC Basel defence.
Well, Veron, of course, did not play much of the Newcastle game because of having to travel 16 hours from the match that Argentina played in Japan. So he was rested for most of that match.
News of a goal in the other match in this section. Deportivo lead Juventus 1-0. Diego Tristan, big bustling striker in the 9th minute. So the two home sides, 1 goal to the good in Group D. And classy Ergic. This has. Ergic. Cantalupi is the man who likes to sit just behind the attacking midfielders. Sweep up, do a bit of ball winning, lead the game from there. Silvestre. Veron's there. And Philip Neville. His brother Gary, of course, ruled out because of a groin injury. It's a very inexperienced Manchester United back four.
Yeah, it really is. Neville, of course, and Silvestre do play quite a bit, but they've never played as a foursome with O'Shea and Brown.
Veron looking for Solskjaer. And to put the wind up a Tuba, and United have their first corner. See the rain still coming down here. It's more drizzle than anything else. typical November night here in Switzerland. Ryan Giggs with the delivery for Manchester United, and Superbuller was slow in getting there. Mikael Silvestre was the man applying the pressure for Manchester United.
Set pieces very dangerous at each end of the field here. Superbuller getting there much too late. Silvestre gets inside him, but this is a very late casual run by Superbuller inside his own 6-yard area. He's got to really make contact on that. Said he's beaten to the near post by a good run from Silvestre. As I said, goals will come in this match. You just feel it. Wow.
Another goal to tell you about at the Riazor. It's 2-0 now to Deportivo. Roy Mackay, the Dutchman, in the 11th minute. Tristan with the first goal, Mackay with the second. And the Juventus find themselves 2 down. Offside here against Rossi.
Juventus, of course, in first place with Milan in Serie A, right up there at the top of the table. But that's a dreadful start for them away from home against Deportivo La Coruña.
Fortune. And so is Philip Neville. Stayed in play for Solskjaer. Fortune. Just overhitting it. Basel being roared on by this capacity crowd. Looked like a dodgy challenge by Paul Scholes. Hakan Yakin. The Russian referee Valentin Ivanov waving play on. Jimenez. It's an important challenge by Fortune. Here's Atuba. Man who made his debut for Cameroon at the age of 16.
Well, his goal's going to be the man. Yeah, he gets booked, but is he going to be the man who's going to have to do the dirty work, so to speak, in midfield? They don't have Nicky Butt. They don't have Roy Keane. It's not the best role for Scholes. He was brilliant as an attacking player on Saturday, but he's now having to take charge of stopping Hakan Yakin, rather.
A challenge by Scholes, which under the booking was on Cantalupi. And Paul Scholes picks up his first caution of the UEFA Champions League campaign. And the referee, Valentin Ivanov, wasn't satisfied. We'll ask Cantalupi to retake it.
Yeah, well, who else is going to do this kind of work? Verón and Fortune are the other two options.
Cantalupi swings it in. Murat Yakin had made his way forward. Comes to Haas. Hakan Yakin. And free kick it is again to FC Basel. Scholes just booked seconds ago.
Two-footed tackle there, Derek. I think, did he go in with 2? No, just with 1. But he clearly was nowhere near the ball as he spilled over Ergic. Scholes got to watch himself. I said he was magnificent as an attacking force against Newcastle United. He absolutely buzzed all over the park, across left, right, and centre. He was fantastic. But today, who's going to do the defensive work in midfield, where they must be stopped, Basel, or else they'll tear you apart.
Almost a quarter of an hour gone. It's Hakan Yakin. It's his second stint with the club. Can be a real magician from this sort of range. Second crack of the whip for Hakan Yakin. And Nistelrooy. United trying to break quickly. Giggs. Support is there for Manchester United. Silvestre was available on the overlap. And Verón trying to get the better of Chipperfield. There was a push.
Yeah, definitely Verón pushing in the back of the player in front of him.
Just a reminder, more Champions League action to come tomorrow. You can join Mike Hill and Tommy Smith for commentary on Bayer Leverkusen against Barcelona from the Bayer Arena. And Bayer Leverkusen, who made it through to the second group stage despite patchy form, are hoping that they can topple Barcelona. As Top Muller was saying yesterday, that Barca are not on top of their game. They can be beaten. Jimenez trying to work his way through, and Manchester United have conceded another dangerous free kick. That was O'Shea, the young Irishman, and the referee Valentin Ivanov didn't hesitate.
Well, he got his foot up very high and into Jimenez. Jimenez's foot was pretty high as well, frankly, and that's what O'Shea is protesting. So it's Actually, it's not had much to do since that goal they conceded from the corner kick. But now he gives away a free kick. Is it dangerous play and therefore indirect? Let's watch what the referee's signal is here.
Seemed to have the arm up initially, and the free kick was awarded. No danger for Manchester United. It's been a very rocky start to the match, and it is indeed an indirect free kick. Lupi stands over the ball. Murat Yakin might be the man who has a crack at goal. It is Murat Yakin! And it's a corner to FC Basel.
I think Barthez got a touch on this one. Beautifully set up again. The wall very slow. The defender's slow in coming out on the shooter here. Very late run from Scholes. I think Barthez touches this one. Yes, he does. Good save by Fabian Barthez. But not the best of reactions from United. Scholes, I think, just very slow in coming out. Required 2 touches.
Pantalupi in position to take the corner for FC Basel. Now Van Nistelrooy. And look at this. Treating the Basel defenders almost with disdain as he worked his way forward. And the free kick it is. Trusik, who's a bit slow of foot. And the referee taking a very dim view of Trusik's comportment. It's a booking for Marco Trusik, the 31-year-old defender.
Well, you take a look at the replay there. You be the judge. Was there any contact here whatsoever? He runs across him a little bit. I'm not so sure there was. There might have been a slight brush. But obstruction, if nothing else. And Van Nistelrooy, I think, really made quite a meal of that through the yellow card. But Trusik didn't object as vociferously as you might have thought.
So 1 yellow card apiece. Scores for United. Trusik for FC Basel. And well, Baron was in there trying to test the FC Basel defence. Murat Yakin helping out his goalkeeper, Zuberbühler. Ergic. Seen 1 or 2 very clever touches from Ivan Ergic in the early stages. Taking on Fortune. Yakin always seems to be available. He's very quick feet.
That was a quick transition too, a very speedy midfield play. But look at United now. This is very slow. What they're missing here, it seems to me, is Diego Forlan. He's got so much more pace out of the middle of the park. He was really instrumental in some of the matches we've seen. At just that quick break through the middle of the field, his streaking runs, those diagonal runs, they tear people apart. Right now, they just don't have that pace in transition through midfield, United.
Forlan is on the bench. United trailing 1-0 here. The goal scored by Christian Jimenez for FC Basel after unofficially 32 seconds. Atuba. Pantalupi again, the supporting player. Trusik. O'Shea trying to win the head challenge, confronted by Rossi. Silvestre. Absolute bedlam inside the St. Jakob Park. Scholes. Solskjaer. Coming off Atuba. Neville's 47th appearance in European club competition. Handed back to him by Timothée Atuba. Scholes. And Zuberbühler been a bit late in going after the ball. Quick fire clearance, trying to find Jimenez. It falls kindly for Julio Rossi. Brown and Silvestre together. Manchester United, this is Fortune.
Yeah, and Zuberbühler was slow coming out there. And speaking of slow, again, this is a slow attack. And nothing comes of it. Scholes has got to get the ball faster. They've got to get the ball behind that first line of defence in midfield in order to get any chance to get to Nistelrooy a 1-against-1 or even 1-against-2 where he can be lethal. And Solskjaer has to see more of the ball too.
United's build-up considerably more studious than that of FC Basel. Giggs trying to knock it forward. Fortune, and he'll be in trouble here. Marco Zvisi has gone to ground, and Fortune will become the second United player to be booked by the Russian referee, Seamus.
Well, he comes in here and misses the ball completely as Zvisi just manages to move it away, anticipating the run. There's a little run, touch away there, and all kinds of turf comes up, and Zvisi goes down. I think he's going to be okay, but it was kind of a reckless challenge by Quentin Fortune. But it shows a little bit of the theme that we talked about at the beginning, Derek, and that is a certain amount of lack of composure, lack of sort of good defensive midfield play. You get rash challenges like that. We've seen it from Scholes. There's not been a discipline about the defending in the middle of the field so far.
Zvisi has gone off, so treatment can be administered. For the moment, Basel down to 10 men. Murat Yakin. And it wasn't a very clever defending by Brown. It's another chance for Julio Hernan Rossi. And luckily for United, Barthez was there. Zvisi has returned to the field of play. They attack so quickly, FC Basel. They're not afraid to be very direct. Looks like a simple long ball. Can be very troublesome. Now Fortune drives it in. Silvestre. Fortune. Scholes. Giggs. And come back to Baron, and Van Nistelrooy's there, but the offside flag is up.
Well, they're looking for him all the time, aren't they? And who wouldn't with 50 goals in his career? But is he offside here? I think he's level with the left back. He then moved as the ball was in the air, but Van Nistelrooy thought he was onside, and I would agree with him. But it's very central stuff right now for United, isn't it? They're trying to flip those balls through central defenders. It's not the greatest of central defenses, this Basel defense, but it seems to me they've got to start working around Haas and Atuba as well on the flanks and get around the back of them. They're not getting around the back of them yet.
Such a buzz here in the city over the last couple of days. FC Basel really been looking forward to this meeting with Manchester United since the draw was made. The second group stage, Hakan Yakin with a drive. Offside in any case. Well, we'll be back with you tomorrow with action from the Mestalla Stadium in Valencia. Ajax will provide the opposition. Continuing coverage of Champions League Matchday 7 on ESPN.
Well, nobody scored more goals than Valencia in the first stage of the Champions League this year. They are a wonderful team to watch. It should be a fantastic game against the up-and-coming Dutch side. Ajax trying to rebuild from the glory years.
Philip Neville and Scott Chipperfield, the pride of Wollongong.
Yes, right. Hasn't been beaten yet down the flank.
Neville in position for Manchester United. It's given away by Jimenez. Philip Neville. Useful looking ball. We're all queuing up. And Ryan Giggs waiting to take aim. Bit of encouragement for United, Seamus.
Yeah, well, it fell nicely for Ryan Giggs there for the volley. But Ryan Giggs also needs the ball at his feet with some pace and some room in front of him to move, and they have not been getting the ball to him early in the wide position, and so far it's been a surprisingly indifferent, sort of lackluster United attack. I don't know, they can't simply have been rattled by the early goal. They've fallen behind early goals before, but through midfield it's not convincing so far.
Rossi's little flick, O'Shea steering it back to Fabian Barthez.
That trio has not played together. There's clearly some misunderstanding there. O'Shea hesitant as to when to release it. Barthez, one wonders if he was calling for it early enough. Finally, they almost put themselves under pressure.
Baron. Baron has Solskjaer supporting to his right. Van Nistelrooy in the centre. Baron, good movement from United. They try to force Zwisig and the Basel defenders back on their heels.
Well, Scholes is beginning to take over a little bit now. And that will make a bit of a difference. If they can pick up the pace a little bit closer to the box, then that passing will, I'm sure, have telling effect.
Nistelrooy failing to control it, away by Murat Yakin. Rossi. Hakan Yakin running into trouble. Wes Brown is the defender in question for United.
That was good defending though, wasn't he? Timed his tackle perfectly, knew when to go to ground. It wasn't a hasty thing we saw from Fortune about 5 minutes ago.
O'Shea. Finding Philip Neville. Veron. Fortune. Silvestre. Took a slight deflection. To Superbuller. Trying to grab hold of it. Solskjaer had just moved into that central position.
Well, I have to give credit to Basel here, Derek. They've done a good job at keeping the likes of Silvestre and Neville back from coming forward. Neville has not really looked like he's going to beat anybody down the right flank. Silvestre has been somewhat cautious going forward, perhaps cognizant of the fact that the central defenders inside him are not an experience.
Solskjaer just switched out to the left-hand side now, and it was almost the perfect ball for Ruud van Nistelrooy. Good solid defending by Timothée Atuba.
Yeah, that's a lovely little ball, isn't it? Atuba holds his ground very well, though, getting inside Van Nistelrooy. But he knows that Ruud van Nistelrooy is lurking always, just looking for that half step on the shoulder of the last defender.
Ryan Giggs with the Manchester United corner. Giggs wearing the captain's armband this evening. Zwisig watching Van Nistelrooy at Superbuller. And he got away with that.
Oh. My goodness, punching the ball into the ground in front of his own goal. Mercy.
Hakan Yakin always crying out for the ball. So they force United onto the back foot. It was a very intelligent pass for Julio Rossi to run onto. And Hakan Yakin, who has attracted interest from so many Bundesliga clubs over the last few weeks because of his Champions League form, is clearly in the mood again tonight.
Yeah, he is. That was a lovely little ball. Well read, though, by Brown in the end, backing up John O'Shea, whom the pass beat. He read it nicely and cut it out.
Almost reached the half-hour mark. And disappointment so far for Manchester United. They trail by 1-0. And the pressure cooker that is the St. Jakob Park, this very intimate ground, the fans close to the play.
Well, it's a tremendous atmosphere here, and one caution I would add is that this man, Superbuller, has looked a little unsteady in anything dropping his way in the way of a cross or a set piece. Something United may capitalize on before too long. But so far, Basel look reasonably comfortable against the Giants of United.
Yes, the Manchester United fans are here in force as well, and actually among them are 43 so-called Swiss Devils, the Swiss branch of the Manchester United Supporters Club. Now Rossi. Oh, that's tremendous play by Julio Rossi. Jimenez was in the centre. Hakan Yakin with a shot, a corner to FC Basel. But Rossi tying the United defenders at knots.
Oh, it was a terrific run inside and outside O'Shea. Just could not find the right player. Nobody could get open. It was good defending in the centre by the players coming out the angles.
Hakan Yakin with the Basel corner.
Well, the defence initially was absolutely turned like a top by that wonderful run of Rossi.
To Marco Zwisig. There's anyone who might be vulnerable in the centre of the Basel defence, it really might well be Zwisig. He doesn't turn very quickly. He's more of a straightforward man marker.
That's right. At 31 years of age, he is just so happy to be in the Champions League finally in his career. Thought that might never happen.
Ergic. And we're brimming with confidence here, FC Basel. That's a good-looking ball. Kanyakin again trying to feed it out to Chipperfield, but it was over the line. Scott Chipperfield doing his best. Man who has won 19 caps for Australia. Well, if you're in Latin America, we'd like to remind you about our Fuera de Juego panel discussion programme on Friday. All the burning football issues discussed by Luis Tapia and the team. And of course, in the Pacific Rim, the English equivalent is Press Pass. That's on midnight, at midnight on Saturdays. Join JP Della Camera, Tommy Smith, Eddie Maiton and Mike Hill.
Now, that was the first time we saw Chipperfield go forward, Derek. He's been very, very conservative about defending that left side, and it's been effective so far.
Chipperfield is filling in for the suspended Antonio Esposito tonight. Both of them actually played in the last league match. 3-0 win over FC Thun. And it's a bit careless. Tvusi. And handball it was. Free kick to United.
Well, now this is an opportunity to get back into things. Yeah, very definite handball. Giggs trying to play it in behind him. A set-piece opportunity may be the best chance for United in the first 33 minutes here. Who will have a crack at this? No Beckham, of course, at the moment.
Baron's there. Scholes. Scholes just behind. Ryan Giggs, of course, might fancy the angle. Tense moment then for the FC Basel defence. And for this crowd of more than 30,000, it's Juan Veron. No problems for the home side. And Nistelrooy bang in form. 5 goals in 3 matches ahead of this game.
Not sure he's had a shot yet tonight, though, has he?
Phil Neville, that long throw for United. Tuba who heads it clear. And tennis just at the minute. Fortune. Scholes and run to the ball by Jimenez. They storm forward again. This is what we've come to expect from FC Basel.
Yeah,
Ergic finally halted in his tracks.
I think Scholes may have taken a swing at somebody back towards the area as well. Very dangerous thing to do, carrying a yellow card. And then another Wes Brown tackle that looked 50-50 or maybe 30-70 from the fans' point of view here.
FC Basel have been preparing diligently for this match. The usual training camp up the road in the Black Forest at Zygerhöhe. That's been the lucky training ground this season. They go there almost religiously before all big games. They've gone 11 matches without defeat in the Swiss League, and they're leading Manchester United here by 1-0. Christian Jimenez scoring in the first minute, unofficially after 32 seconds. Fortune for United. Veron. Philip Neville. Veron did well to steer it into the path of Solskjaer, but he was fouled. Juan Veron. Mario Cantalupi was the player who caught Juan Sebastian Veron.
Now, after he released it, steps on his ankle. That can really smart. Veron goes down to make sure it gets a decision. The referee stopped play, even though United retained possession. Now, can Van Nistelrooy do something here? We've seen a good effort by the left back Sylvester in a similar situation. Or might this be a surprise shot on goal by Giggs?
It's an inviting angle for Ryan Giggs. And over it comes. Surely it's Wes Brown. And somehow United failed to steer it home. And Nistelrooy had taken up position right by the post. It remains 1-0.
Wow, look at this ball come in. Did that come off the post? There's the shot by Brown. Hooked onto the post. And of course, standing in the offside position was Van Nistelrooy. A closer look here. Wow. All kinds of comings and goings and flows there. Solskjaer really had the best chance. And eventually Brown tries to steer it home and into the side netting, but way offside was Van Nistelrooy. I said the set pieces, though, still look to me to be the best opportunity. But they look disorganized at the back. Basel are unsteady in set pieces.
As I'm sure Christian Gross will be a bit concerned with the number of free kicks Basel have conceded in the danger territory, 20 or 25 yards from goal.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, he did say when they were up 3-0 against Liverpool that they lacked the maturity and that they lost their nerve, really. And when Liverpool started to rally and score, and then they just managed to hang on. So they're facing that similar kind of challenge. I think there'd be more goals by now, but they've done reasonably well in midfield.
Long ball from Bernd Haas.
But less so in their own penalty area.
Silvestra's header. And Murat Yakin. FC Basel, the double winners here in Switzerland last season, winning the league and the cup. Ended 22 barren years without a championship. This was a team relegated back in 1988, and they stayed for 6 years in the second division. Only in the last 2 or 3 seasons have they re-emerged after being one of the top teams here in Switzerland in the 1960s and 70s. Goals, and it's Philip Neville who's made the forward dash. Oh, a disappointing pass it was from Neville. Solskjaer. Take it away, Chipperfield just moving into the centre this time. Whereas Brown, and an awkward one for Murat Yakin. But it wouldn't have made any difference, the offside flag was up.
Well, that was a very poor ball by Neville, wasn't it? He made a terrific run, it cut inside very nicely. He has done some midfield play of late for United, so this is familiar terrain for him. But having done so well to keep the combination play going, he really botched it with a very poor attempt to put a penetrating ball through.
Better news for Juventus at the Riazor Stadium. Birindelli has pulled one back in the 38th minute after earlier goals by Tristan and Mackay for Deportivo. 2-1 to the home side. That's the other match in Group D. It's 1-0 to FC Basel here at the St. Jakob Park. John O'Shea using Quinton Fortune. O'Shea confronted by Ergic. Not too happy with that decision.
Well, O'Shea patrolling the left side there, Dirk. Sylvester has said that he wants to play more centre-back. Maybe he's just sort of taking it over for this few minutes here.
Fortune. So keep it on the ground. Scholes. Bamboozled by Chipperfield. Hakan Yakin. Really is a joy to watch when he's on top of his game. He has been for most of this Champions League season. It is Silvestre. Scholes again had it taken away. There was a hand. That was the hand of Julio Hernan Rossi. Manchester United looking out of sorts by their own high standards, fresh from the 5-3 victory over Newcastle United, arguably their most complete Premiership performance of the season.
Well, fresh, you said, but really how fresh? You want to wonder if, in fact, they left an awful lot on the pitch after that match. It was a terrific game, very, very important match for them to win. But they looked a little bit sluggish in this match.
The Scholes going in on Mario Cantalupi. We've seen a fair amount of one another in the opening 40 minutes. Scholes, of course, already cautioned by Russian referee Valentin Ivanov.
Yeah, Scholes thinking that that was a little bit of exaggeration there. And Scholes has had to do some of that biting kind of tackling. He really has not had much of a chance to add to the offensive capabilities of this team so far.
It's Murat Yakin with the free kick. Atuba's header. Rossi with a head flick, and Jimenez was almost in again. Well, that is very typical of what we've seen from FC Basel in this competition. These quick-fire set pieces, little head flicks, and they really seem to bamboozle the opposition.
Yeah, a little bit of a push in the back too in the end by Jimenez. That caught Brown unawares. But they do certainly bring the training ground right into the flow of play here when it comes to the set pieces.
There they are again, Rossi and Hakan Yakin hounding, hassling and harrying, not giving Manchester United an inch. Sports Centre's coming up at half-time. All the top sports stories from around the world.
Well, they just need some more pace, it seems to me. I didn't say face, I said pace. Not that face. And I think, you know, Forlan, who I said had such a fantastic game against United and recently in the Champions League.
We watch for Van Nistelrooy and company inside the area. Haas was quick to get that one clear. And perhaps a bit of tugging. Silvestre is watching Jimenez like a hawk. Now Ergic, playing just off the shoulder of Mikael Silvestre. As the supporting player, Cantalupi, had made the forward run. Silvestre back there covering. Hakan Yakin. Did well to keep that alive for FC Basel. Wonderful flowing football from the home side. It's a Tuba here, who scored against Liverpool. Matchday 6 and another chance. It must be Chipperfield's. Oh, Scott Chipperfield misses from close range. What an opportunity for the Australian.
Yeah, great opportunity here. He does very well to cut inside, and he just scuffs it wide as he is really challenged from behind by Brown. Now, does Brown really take him down here? Let's take a look. He's certainly reaching in with the left arm and pulling his left arm back. But Chipperfield, I don't think he's been that close to goal in a long time. He's missed a lot of matches through injury. And he was, of course, the national team player in Australia 2 years in a row.
Really a prolific scorer during his Wollongong Wolves days.
Yep.
Managed 50 goals in 131 matches. And just inches away from making it 2-0.
But such poor defending by United. They were lucky to get away with that one.
Ergic. Touch on by Jimenez. Hakan Yakin, the ubiquitous Hakan Yakin, fouled by Quinton Fortune, another man who's walking a tightrope here, having already been cautioned. Well, that's, I think, what the Basel players are pointing out.
Well, this is the danger man, the number 10 player that they always worry about, Hakan Yakin, and who was going to challenge him. As I said, Dieter Hamann, Steven Gerrard did not take care of him for Liverpool. And this time it's fallen to Scholes and Fortune, and the only way they've been able to do it is to foul him and draw a yellow card apiece. Oh, for Nicky Butt. That's what a lot of Man U fans are probably saying right now, or Roy Keane. But they've got to motor on without them.
So that Jimenez goal scored in the first minute, the difference between the two sides.
Just don't feel it's going to be enough, Derek.
Murat Yakin it is, the Basel captain. It's a very powerful shot. It's his second stint with the club. Has played in the Bundesliga, spells with VfB Stuttgart and Kaiserslautern.
Also with Fenerbahce.
Actually, he's playing with pain-killing injections having been administered before the match, Murat Yakin. There's a couple of minutes to be added on at the end of this first half. Another opportunity for Chipperfield. His control let him down, though. Seamus said he's focused more on the defensive side of the game tonight. Hasn't gone forward all that often.
He's picked his spots well in the last 15 minutes, though. Might have had himself a goal. Certainly had 3 good attacking opportunities.
Diminutive Paul Scholes trying to draw Bernd Haas out of his position.
Chipperfield is taking advantage of the defensive midfield shortcomings right now. Varone is not tracking him down.
Shea again has made his way forward on the left. It's Paul Scholes for Manchester United. Philip Neville. Varone. Neville's continued his run. And Nistelrooy. Touch was a bit too heavy. Murat Yakin did well. Atuba. Very much the organiser of this defence, Murat Yakin. And his brother Hakan. The And United through Van Nistelrooy. This might be their last chance of this first half. It was worth a shot from Solskjaer, and it almost caught Superbühler off guard. Corner to United.
Well, he's gone looking for trouble, hasn't he, Solskjaer? Switching over to the right side, does very well to set up his right foot. Superbühler again looking very unsteady. It was a difficult ball, but it might have been going wide. It was swept to the near post. And you see him losing his footing a little bit in that dive.
Looking quickly, O'Shea's up there. And appealing for another corner, which is given.
They look very unsteady defending these corners. Very, very unsteady.
Here is Veron. We've had the 2 minutes of time added on. It's Superbühler. Oh, it wasn't a very convincing punch away. And there it is. The first half comes to an end. We expected this to be entertaining. We haven't been disappointed. FC Basel lead Manchester United by 1-0. Christian Jimenez doing the damage with only 32 seconds on the clock after a corner wasn't cleared away properly. This threat, and this could boil over before it finishes. We've seen 3 bookings already, 2 for United players, Paul Scholes and Quinton Fortune. Fortune it was who tried to steer it off the line, but it came back. Well, the Basel coach, Christian Gross, has proved himself to be a far more sophisticated customer than the caricature so readily ridiculed during his highly unusual 10-month stint with Tottenham Hotspur. He's got this Basel side playing magnificent football, and Manchester United can testify to that. They're up against it here. United all in white, attacking the goal to our left in the second half and chasing the game. Comes to Quinton Fortune, one of 2 United players booked in the first half. And John O'Shea. No half-time substitutions from either side by the look of things, Seamus.
No, but John O'Shea again puzzling me as he is playing, initially at least, in a wider left position. He played right back on the weekend. But right now he's lined up at left back, and Sylvester has gone into the middle as we thought we had seen just before the half. Well, there's a big fuss about Sylvester saying that's where he wished to play the rest of his professional career, that is at centre back.
In the end, no chances taken by Wes Brown. Couldn't afford to be too fussy. A bit of confusion out there as to where the ball should be positioned. Is it a corner? Is it a throw? Hakan Yakin demanding an answer.
Well, it isn't a throw-in, it ought to be. How can you give away a corner under very little pressure? So, yes, it is a throw-in.
Timothée Atuba with it. 20-year-old Cameroon international. The head flicks there, and Jimenez foiled by Barthez. Point-blank range, Jimenez has scored after 32 seconds, almost adding a second goal.
Again, illustrative of your point of the training ground preparation. A great flick on by Zizek. You see him flick it on there, and just a lovely little touch inside, and a snap reaction save there by the keeper Barthez.
Here comes the corner this time, and Barthez watching very closely. That is very much the Basel pattern, these head flicks at set pieces, whether it's from a throw or a free kick. And it's straightforward stuff, you would think. But United have been at 6s and 7s.
Well, that's exactly right, Derek. They've looked very unprepared in a way for some of this quick runs towards the ball for the short throw or the short corner. And it's been a wonderful opportunity that so far Basel has really failed to convert after that first minute. Here's another look. Good save. He probably had a split second to see that and get it out of danger. Great stuff by Jimenez, though.
I think there's something about teams from England and Scotland. FC Basel, of course, seeing off Celtic in the qualifying stage. It was on the away goals rule, winning 2-0 here after going down 3-1 at Parkhead, and 2 draws with Liverpool. Nagic going forward this time, and it's Barthez. Low save, foiling Ivan Ergic, a 2-goal hero in the 2-2 draw with Valencia.
Well, not a great shot, and a pretty Easy save in the end, but questions being raised. The ball came off the ground a little bit dangerously there for Barthez. Verón again trailing Ergic in his run. That's what Barthez is asking.
Cantalupi has skipped over to the far side to take the corner. Check for the head flick again here from Susi, perhaps it's Barthez, and it's Hakan Yakin. Corner again to FC Basel.
Boy,
they've started the second half like a house on fire.
Neither of these sides looked very good in defending corner kicks, do they? Ball cleared down into the ground, and a quick shot blocked away by Silvestre.
Given the dodgy nature of both defences, Basel will certainly be looking for a second goal. It's hard to believe that one will be enough here. Fortune stepping in front of Juan Verón. Challenge came in from Murat Yakin. Philip Neville now for United. And Mr. Roy with his back to goal, confronted by Zvisi. O'Shea out there on the left, as Seamus mentioned.
Yeah, what does he give them when it comes to get into this part of the field?
But on, it's a good ball this time, and it must be Ryan Giggs. Well, that's a corner, and wasn't very happy with what was going on around him inside the penalty area. Corner it is, however. Was it a handball?
Yeah, that's what he's asking. He thought it was a handball there.
Murat Yakin, the defender in question.
It's a handball right there, but it's played into his hand. It's not really a handball. There certainly is no intention there. And he's lucky to get a corner. I thought Giggs hooked it out. I didn't think the defender got it.
Well, it's really boiling up nicely here at the St. Jakob Park. Now the referee, Valentin Ivanov, going over there to have a quick word with his assistant, Alexei Monachov. All is well. But on with the corner. And Brown trying to create space for himself. Scholes. Should I just turn to go into reverse? Cries of Basel ringing around the ground. Fortune just lets that one get away from him. It's Christian Jimenez as Hakan Yakin supporting, and Rossi to his right. Jimenez, Hakan Yakin. Play on is the decision. Silvestre's challenge. Oh, the crowd wanted a penalty. Hakan Yakin going down. He occasionally hits the grass a bit too easily. Well, it'll be interesting to take a look at that one again.
If he won the tackle, they might argue that it was a back pass, but I don't think so. It was a tackle. He got the ball, and Barthez didn't hesitate to pick it up. I don't think you can construe that to be a back pass. It was a desperation but successful tackle.
And followed by O'Shea for Manchester United. But under the collar again here at the start of the second half. FC Basel playing inspirational football, and well, here it is again. Hakan Yakin, was he fouled by Silvestre?
Let's take a look. Is there touching? Oh, I don't think he touches the ball at all there. I think he got all of the player, not the ball. Let's take a look here. Watch the ground being dug up by the challenge right there. I didn't think he touched the ball, did you?
No, I think he's been unlucky.
Yeah, very unlucky. He took him down, got away with it. It was right on the line of the box where the challenge went. He spilled into the box, so best it might have been a free kick at the edge, but very definitely not a touch on the ball by Silvestre.
Matuba gives it away this time. Scholes. Now Giggs. Van Nistelrooy. Solskjaer on the right. Slipped there by Murat Yakin. And they just get away with it. FC Basel. And the back chat continues. Obviously having a word with the Russian referee now.
Well, he's claiming that Scholes deliberately handled the ball there, and that should be a yellow card. Scholes, of course, already riding along on one yellow card. Once he came in and gave Scholes a bit of a bump, which might have been also to try to draw him into retaliate and get a yellow. That's a gamesmanship going on here too. But what United have lost, no question, is they have no overlapping threat from the back positions, from O'Shea and Neville right now. Neither of them looks really like they're going to come forward and do much damage when it comes to supporting the attack.
See how close the fans are to the play here. It's a wonderful atmosphere at the St Jakob Park. The long throw by Atuba. It's a goal kick. As we said, more Champions League action to come tomorrow night here on ESPN. Our Matchday 7 coverage continues with Bayer Leverkusen against Barcelona. From the Bayer Arena, Leverkusen, the beaten finalists last season. Hakan Yakin has been everywhere. And the offside flag is raised. Chipperfield made the run.
Yeah, and a dreadful ball again by Phil Neville out of the back. Neville is having just a deplorable game at the moment. That's the ball played right to Yakin. Going to pick anybody out on the field of the 21 players. You don't want to give it to him. That was also a dicey offside decision. Chipperfield really pushing into that left field, having now great confidence to go forward because Verón is just giving him a free passage. I would take Verón off right now and bring on Forlan, to be perfectly honest. I think Verón is really just taking up space out there at the moment. Forlan gives him some speed and a threat.
And he's walking up and down the touchline as we speak. Diego Forlan. I can't believe it'll be too much longer before we see substitutions. It might apply to both sides. FC Basel leading by 1-0 against Manchester United. Christian Jimenez after 32 seconds. Hervé Toom is making his way off his seat there for FC Basel. Perhaps we'll see the big Cameroon striker before long. Christian Gross wants to freshen things up. Forward they go again. Jimenez inside the area. And Hakan Yakin is always supporting the front pair. Forward by John O'Shea. Yakin did well. And to loop it through. Julio Rossi just misjudging the bounce of the ball.
What a bad ball out of the back by O'Shea. I mean, it was really a third division pass out of the back there. Look at United. They're struggling just to make decent passes out of the back. There's just been no cohesion, no kind of confident play that we're so used to seeing. And that, of course, means they're missing Laurent Blanc, who's such a good distributor from the central position.
Rio Ferdinand, of course, also out.
Yeah.
It's a makeshift Manchester United defence, and it shows, quite frankly. But they can still rectify matters. Long throw by Barthez. Tuba's there. Philip Neville. Here is John O'Shea. Verón. That's the cry that we very often hear from the Basel fans. Steht auf, wenn ihr Basler seid. Stand up if you're a resident of Basel. We're so proud of this team, with good reason. Verón now trying to get something together for United. It's taken away by Atuba, thwarting Solskjaer. Here to the home side. Use of another goal at the Riazor, and Juventus have levelled that match now. Pavel Nedved in the 57th minute. So even Steven in the other Group D game being played in La Coruña.
Well, a taste of things to come for these two sides. Of course, United play Deportivo La Coruña next, and then they have to play as well Liverpool and Arsenal coming up. In 16 days they will have played Liverpool, Arsenal, Basel and Deportivo La Coruña.
It'd be remarkable after matchday 7 encounters if FC Basel were to top the group. So many people writing them off, saying, well, they've had their moment of glory, they've had their moment in the sun, ousting Liverpool. But they're leading Manchester United here, and it's no fluke.
No, it's not. They're playing very well. They should have, might really have had a second goal. Chipperfield with a great chance. Giggs had a good chance, but we've seen virtually nothing of Van Nistelrooy around the goal. The service into Van Nistelrooy has not been resumed, as they say in the old days of British Rail. It's just not happening.
Ergic. Such a confident player on the ball, Ivan Ergic. Well, the shots didn't measure up to the initial part of the build-up. Trying to see if Sir Alex Ferguson is switching anything again.
Yeah, what's Carlos Queiroz chipping in with too from the touchline.
Basel 1, Manchester United 0. It's been that way since the first minute. And Christian Jimenez gave Basel the lead. Tackled by Murat Yakin. Won't get away with that. Now this is John O'Shea. Giggs. It's been fairly quiet by his own high standards. And kept in check by Bernd Haas.
Giggs is effective when he goes wandering too. He hasn't done much of that. There are times when he just goes in search of the play and can be very dangerous.
Well flicked by Ryan Giggs that time. Scholes. Philip Neville. Now Veron. An incisive run by the Argentinian. Ergic. Superb play. And Rossi's header. This is where FC Basel can be very dangerous. Hakan Yakin. Natuba. Playing it in almost hopefully. And Christian Jimenez, the only player able to attack the ball.
At the other end, it was a good ball, wasn't it? That was played into Veron, and it was by Brown. A terrific ball out of the back. So that's encouraging from distribution from the back in the absence of Laurent Blanc. But Veron did not do very well holding the ball, did he?
Manchester United, the second top scorers in the first group stage of the Champions League. Roy has equalised for Manchester United. The perfect cross from Solskjaer. And Van Nistelrooy beats Tuber-Bühler. All ends up. United haven't enjoyed the best of evenings, but they're very much back in business now.
Oh, look at, he's wide open between two defenders, though. Oh, what's Tuber-Bühler doing there? That's shocking. It comes to him quickly, but Solskjaer gets a lot of time here now. You cannot give Beckham or Solskjaer this kind of time. And look at the positioning. And look at this, between the legs of the keeper. My, oh my, oh my. Tuber-Bühler, who has looked very certain on his footing. But poor defending all around there. Defending poorly on the cross in its initial stage, and then when it dropped in the middle, bad defending by the defenders and also the keeper.
1-1 then, as Atuba plays it in. United now trying to keep the concentration at the back. Van Nistelrooy having levelled the contest, albeit a very poor piece of goalkeeping by Pascal Tuber-Bühler. See if United could now go from strength to strength. Giggs. Past the covering defender, down he goes, Van Nistelrooy, still Van Nistelrooy, oh, and that's a corker. He had nothing to aim at, but Van Nistelrooy has scored twice in the space of 60 seconds.
Oh,
the game has been turned on its head by the amazing Ruud van Nistelrooy. 5 goals in 3 games ahead of this match, and how on earth was he able to hit the target from this angle?
Incredible. And he won that ball initially in off the far post from the most impossible of angles, but look at him spin his way around the defense. That's great stuff. And now this requires the most precise kind of finishing. Picks out the right side of the post to knock it in off, and 2 goals in a minute by Van Nistelrooy after the home team had scored 1 goal in the first minute.
A hat-trick against Newcastle United on Saturday. And 2 goals here in the space of a minute, and surely that has knocked the stuffing out of FC Basel, who were, if anything, the stronger side in the early exchanges of the second half. It's not over for them yet. Hakan Yakin shuffling for space, and free kick goes against him.
Well, I honestly think those are the first two shots of the match for Van Nistelrooy. I can't recall anything, but what a shot this is. Over the goalkeeper's shoulder, the keeper has to go down and try to spread himself somewhat. And Van Nistelrooy says, well, in that case, you've shown me the far post. Let me see if I can just ping it in off it, and so he does. What an astonishing finisher this man is. 52 goals now in 68 games for Manchester United.
Well, you can't argue with that rate of striking. But on. A tidy ball we got from Paul Scholes. Able to pick out Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And the pensive-looking Christian Gross, been in charge of this Basel side since 1999. Just made his name as a coach really with Grasshopper. Giggs. Cutting in field. Looking rather menacing. Scholes. Philip Neville. And it's Murat Yakin with the header. Veron doing the fouling. And Veron against Cantalupi. And Veron is going to be shown the yellow card here.
Well, is it for the foul or for throwing the ball away? I didn't think there was much of a foul there. Well, he does reach in and hack at him. Cantalupi makes rather a meal of it, but then Veron picked up the ball and threw it away.
Ergic trying to go forward, so that's the most disappointing pass of the night from Ivan Ergic. Yakin never with any chance of getting to it. Hope you'll join the pair of us for our Champions League match tomorrow night. We'll be coming to you from the Mestalla in Valencia, Ajax providing the opposition. More matchday 7 action. (2-1) to Manchester United. Ruud van Nistelrooy has changed the complexion of this match.
Well, give O'Shea credit. We thought he might have limited capacities coming forward. Does make a foul there, but at least he is coming forward. He's adding his presence. I have to say, he's a bit more constructive than Phil Neville on the other side, whose crosses have been abysmal. Solskjaer with one good cross, finally, and a goal from it.
Hakan Yakin. Julio Rossi drifting out to the right, taking O'Shea with him. O'Shea always had the right angle. And I think Basel are probably in need of a bit of a change up front here, Seamus.
Yeah, they certainly have lost the plot a little bit here, but who can blame them for suddenly being in a great position with all kinds of confidence? But it's a little bit of the Liverpool syndrome again here, Derek. You know, having a good result against a big-name team and all of a sudden losing the plot a bit. And once the first goal went in, really losing it big time and then giving away a second game right away, which is exactly what happened when Liverpool played them.
And Nistelrooy, and a quick flick for Solskjaer. And the defender's slow to get back. It's Solskjaer, and it's 3-1. A classic goal by the Norwegian striker. But the Basel defenders will be very disappointed. They failed to pick him up. And this was deadly finishing. And
between the legs of the goalkeeper again, this time probably not much you could do about it. It's hit with pace. Not a great shot by Solskjaer, but I think it goes between his legs, does it not? Yes, it did. Boy, I'll tell you, Jimmy Buehler is going to want to take the tape of this game and burn it ritually for about a week, because he has not looked good in this match whatsoever. But now in that goal, Derek, we saw what we didn't see from the first half from United. That was speedy midfield play. That was a quick 1-2 passes out of the midfield, a wide player, and off Solskjaer went. From the get-go, you knew he was going to get a good shot on the net, and he put it away. Amazing. 3 goals in 6 minutes.
Well, the fans getting behind the team. But, well, is it too late now for Basel? Chipperfield. Atuba. Basel knew full well United were capable of coming here and scoring a boatload of goals. There are worries about the United defence. Those worries proved to be justified, but when you can score 3 goals in such a short time frame, then it puts the defensive problems into perspective. Murat Yakin. Wes Brown in the centre of the United rearguard.
Goodness, how this game has changed in 10 minutes. It's just unbelievable, almost unrecognizable, these 2 halves in a way. Yes, they started well in the second half, Basel, but United have just taken terrific opportunistic advantages of what's been handed to them, and Van Nistelrooy has come to life.
Matuba harmlessly through to Fabian Barthez. Just over 20 minutes left then.
Well, Christian Gross is going to have to ask himself, Derek, about the next matches, whether it's time to make a change in goalkeeping.
Superbuller has not had the happiest of evenings. And Nistelrooy. And Ergic, who for me has been one of the most forceful players out there tonight for FC Basel, takes it away. Hakan Yakin runs into trouble, but looks for the free kick. He won't get it. Ran into Wes Brown.
Wes Brown was going to get a warning there.
An injured player over on the far side. It's Solskjaer. And Atuba is in trouble here. Timothée Atuba shown the yellow card. That's the 5th booking of the night.
Yeah, wow, it's a silly challenge by Atuba, isn't it? After Solskjaer has put it away. Now, Solskjaer has burned Atuba once with the cross, and the second time with a breakaway in his position at left back, and scored the 3rd goal, which is the killer goal, really. Tuba losing his composure there, retaliating.
But on for United, trying to find Solskjaer. That's the United fans who are making themselves heard now.
Right. You only sing when you're winning. We can hear the that very mocking song that you hear all around the Premiership.
O'Shea, it was a useful looking ball for Ryan Giggs. Taken away by Murat Yakin. Diego Forlan is getting ready to come on by the look of things. Hervé Toum is also ready for FC Basel. And there is Hervé Toum, the big striker from Cameroon, joined almost 2 years ago from FC Sion. And it's Chipperfield who's being replaced, not long back from injury. A good shift on the left by Scott Chipperfield, but he might well be thinking, my goodness, if that chance had been put away to make it 2-0 shortly before half-time, it could all have been so different tonight.
Absolutely. He really had some terrific chances getting back into playing fitness, and here we see the substitution. And Nistelrooy, the player coming out. Well, he didn't do much in the first half. Not his fault. He never saw the ball. But when he saw the ball twice early in the second half, he came up with 2 fantastic goals. The second one, absolutely brilliant. First one, terrible defending all around, but he finished it off well. What a player.
So on has come Diego Forlan, the Uruguayan, former Independiente player. Hervé Toum has replaced Scott Chipperfield for FC Basel. There's Atuba. Little flick from Hakan Yakin. Rossi did wonderfully well. Ergic now trying to drive through the United defence. Scholes and Forlan. Fresh pair of legs. Stays on his feet. United with considerable breathing space now. 3 goals in 6 minutes, completely changing the course of this match. Veron. Scholes. Dismissed out Veron. And the busy Hakan Yakin. Rossi's just faded out of the game in the second half. Jimenez, position just on the penalty spot. Challenge from Silvestre. Cantalupi looking for Hervé Toum, and Barthez isn't away decisively. Hakan Yakin. It's looking a bit more desperate now from the FC Basel point of view, Seamus.
It is indeed, and now of course with the change from Man U, Forlan coming on. When I was calling for Forlan earlier, obviously he does like to play as a front player, but I was calling for Veron. He can play in the middle of the field as an attacker. In this position right here, off the front players.
Solskjaer scored number 3. So he set up the first goal. Perfectly weighted cross for Van Nistelrooy to bury. Philip Neville. Getting it back from Diego Forlan. Veron. Bit of a chase for John O'Shea. Held off the challenge that came in from Jimenez. And Forlan. Still Forlan. Just couldn't keep the shot down. Man who, of course, had real trouble scoring his first goal for Manchester United after joining from Independiente.
And he was beautifully picked out by O'Shea, who's gone from strength to strength in the second half. Really kind of surprising us with his ability to get forward. He's not got a lot of classic crosses in, but Forlan, he picked out beautifully with a square ball at the edge of the area.
Now at the other end, Hakan Yakin, that's a better ball for Jimenez. United concede the corner.
Oh, that's a bad miss though, isn't it? Jimenez, that ball just needed to be dispatched on the volley right here, just tuck it away. He tries to get the perfect first touch on it. Should have just whacked it in the bottom far corner right there. He wants too nice a touch. You're not going to get that kind of chance against 2 defenders.
Cantalupi with the corner. Murat Yakin's made his way up. A bit of trouble with the pressure of the ball. So the referee Valentin Ivanov has asked for a replacement to be provided. Over it comes from Mario Cantalupi. Zvisi tends to stay back at these corners. And he's not the quickest player in the world, so he'll be grateful to see that one go over the touchline.
So Solskjaer gesturing, he wanted that ball played over the top and long from West Brown.
Hakan Yakin, Toum in the centre forward channel this time. Basel fans now trying their hand at a few English chants.
Yes.
Atuba.
This will be a good test now for this back 4 of United, who looked so wobbly for parts of the first half. Now they'll be under a lot of pressure. Let's see how they respond with Silvestre playing alongside West Brown after O'Shea was moved out to left back. Goals are flowing for United, aren't they? 8 goals in the last 2 games. And they had been flowing for Basel, who'd scored 14 in their previous 5 matches, but only 1 tonight so far.
Hervé Toum with the header. Fortune almost picked out his man. Solskjaer had made the supporting run out on the left alongside Ryan Giggs. United at home to Deportivo the next match day. That's fortnight tomorrow, on the 11th of December. FC Basel have to travel to the Stadio delle Alpi to face Juventus. It's still 2-2, by the way. That game at the Riazor Stadium in La Coruña. Deportivo against Juventus. So Manchester United stand to top the group. There's a lot can happen in 11 minutes of football.
Well, and United, of course, enjoying a great run in Europe this year. Had 15 out of 18 points, even while they were struggling in the Premiership. Only one of their previous 5 before winning on Saturday. They've had some indifferent performances, to put it mildly, in the Premiership, and they're still only 6 points out of first place, as Arsenal and Liverpool had hiccups on the weekend.
Long clearance by Barthez. Atuba. Gregory Durouz is poised to come on here for FC Basel. Durouz, a left back. It's not the most obvious substitution.
No, I would think
under the circumstances.
Might maybe going to 3 backs at this point. We'll see.
Sébastien Babary is also getting ready to come on. There he is. See if Hakan Yakin can keep it in. He can. Confronted by Wes Brown and Veron. Atuba. Scholes had trouble dealing with it. Hakan Yakin. And Toom's header. And that's a corner. Appeals from both sets of players.
Well, bad mistake by Scholes. Almost paid the price again. Yakin with that great cross. But well won in the air then by Wes Brown, who's really had a very strong second half after some wobblies in the first.
Cantalupi with that outswinging corner. Up goes Ergic. And Veron. United on the break. 2 goals by Van Nistelrooy, 1 by Solskjaer. After Jimenez had scored for Basel after 32 seconds. Here's Giggs. Roland couldn't get the break of the ball. Toom always puts in a good, strong shift, this man. It's back to help out the defence as well as going forward. And Veron wins it almost effortlessly. Taking it away from Haas. Veron for Furlan. Watson. Scholes. O'Shea. Veron trying to work the 1-2. Again looking for Furlan.
Yeah, Furlan misreading that, but Veron, of course, looking very comfortable now on the ball. He's a great release person to have when you just want to have good possession and hold on to a 3-1 lead. And he's been defending a little bit better in the last 20 minutes as well.
Just run out of steam here, FC Basel.
Yes.
Giggs now. And to take on Haas. Runs into Ergic. Ergic actually on loan from Juventus. He plays as well as he's played for Basel in this Champions League campaign. I should think Juventus will want to claim him back before too much longer. Like Chipperfield, he is an Australian citizen, Ivan Ergic. Only moved to Australia in the mid-90s, though. In his mid-teens, moved from Yugoslavia. Scholes. Just over 7 minutes remaining. Giggs. Scholes again. This is very intelligent and effective possession football from Manchester United. They're just not giving Basel a look in, Seamus.
No, they're really not. This is very discouraging, too, for Basel. Again, they will be thinking about the fact that they were leading 1-0 and didn't convert a couple of very good chances. And sooner or later, you know, against a team of the caliber of Man United, that they're going to get their own game in gear, as they did in the second half. So Sir Alex had some words of inspiration in the dressing room at half-time, but I have to say, it's Van Nistelrooy has come to the rescue once again.
Well, they did it in Leverkusen, remember, and
Yep.
first group stage when United were outplayed. Offside. The run was made by Solskjaer. Christian Gross is about to make a substitution. Gregory Duruz. And, well, Barbaris as well, I think. Will both come on. Ergic is one of the men going off, and the other is Julio Rossi. Good outing by Ivan Ergic.
Yeah, he will have felt that this is a game that got away from them. They had such good control of midfield at key parts of the game in the first half, and really looked to be in encouraging shape. But the failure to put the game away came back to haunt them. Even against Liverpool, they had a 3-goal lead, and that looked like it was put away, but it wasn't put away. Didn't really learn the lesson from what happened to them there. Chipperfield with some good chances, couldn't convert. Finally, United woke up, and in 6 minutes turned the match around.
Murat Yakin, just over 5 minutes left. And still, perhaps a chance here for the home side. And Yakin has moved now almost to that centre-forward position. What might have been for the home side. A chance that Chipperfield missed at the end of the first half. No doubt prey on their minds. The penalty that they could have had, or at least a free kick just outside the box, but you wouldn't have been surprised to see a penalty given when Hakan Yakin went tumbling early in the second. And not long after that, the Ruud van Nistelrooy show began.
That's right. The dream went to a nightmare rapidly when the goalkeeper, Zuberbühler, really let them down badly, although there were other defenders equally to blame for loose defending on Solskjaer getting the cross in and non-existent defending on Van Nistelrooy as he found space between two central defenders.
This match ebbing away now with 4 minutes left and United in complete control. Solskjaer, no change out of the Basel defence. For English fans watching, we can tell you that Fulham have gone down in the UEFA Cup 2-1 away to Hertha in Berlin. But Fulham still nicely positioned to go through. Scored the away goal in Germany. Hertha 2, Fulham 1, a final score in the UEFA Cup.
Too much to ask to follow the glories of beating Liverpool. 3-2 with a win away from home.
Now Bernd Haas, can he supply the accurate cross? Has to settle for the corner, conceded by O'Shea. For those of you in Latin America, I'd like to remind you about Fuera de Juego. It's coming up on Friday, our panel discussion show. If you're on the Pacific Rim, press pass, an English language programme, Saturday at midnight, Sydney time. Over comes the corner. Murat Yakin's header. Barthez is there to pounce on it. He really hasn't had much to do since that flurry of United goals.
No, it's been a very easy time for him. He had a couple of dodgy punches on some set pieces. But once again, it looked at the beginning of this game that there would be a lot of goals. There turned out to be 4 so far, but never in the imagined way we would have thought. I would have thought Basel would create a few more chances. And sure enough, they did, as United were labouring. But Barthez had very little to do. So this is a very discouraging win, a terrific boost for United. We looked considerably at sea after a great win this weekend in the first half, but they rallied, showed their true class. And now they can think about some of the big matches coming up: Arsenal, Liverpool, Deportivo La Coruña.
Susi. Moving there for Barbaris. Giggs. Veron. Phil Neville. Veron once more. So 2 bad passes in a row from Juan Veron. Jimenez drifted out to the left, just trying to make something happen here for Basel in the closing stages. Fortune. Scholes. United have taken the game by the scruff of the neck. And Nistelrooy with 2 goals in a minute.
Oh.
And a mistake by Barthez. What was he thinking about? Hakan Yakin. He couldn't punish him. And there surely goes Basel's hope of trying to snatch something from this game. It was an inexplicable error by Barthez, wasn't it?
Yeah, it looked like he scuffed the ground behind the ball. But a good challenge in there by Sylvestre coming in. Yakin had to wait for the ball to come down, then he made the chest trap. And he just managed to ping it past the post. Barthez almost gave another one away, having done so against Newcastle in the weekend.
First match roundup is coming up after the final whistle. But we have a substitution here to tell you about. Luke Chadwick, the youngster, coming on for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And he again has played his part. Norwegian, that cross for the first Van Nistelrooy goal, and then scoring United's 3rd goal. One of these players who isn't always in the starting 11 for Manchester United, but you never hear him complaining.
That's right, he's a remarkable professional. And you wonder why he isn't in the starting 11 all the time. You'll find a good reason, except again for using the squad as best you can. So 3 minutes added on, but definitely Solskjaer has had a terrific influence on this game.
That's Brown trying to organise everything back there for United. And they keep Basel at bay here. Inside stoppage time. Asking a lot of the home side to score twice in 3 minutes. Has with a deep cross. Scholes. Tomb. And well, a quick fire shot from Jimenez. Scored that goal after only 32 seconds. Things look very promising for Basel going into the second half, but it's all gone wrong.
Well, it was not the easiest of balls to turn on, but Wes Brown was right there facing him up, which was, again, impressive defending. Wes Brown's had a very, very solid second half. You've got to wonder if just the O'Shea combination wasn't quite working, or what's really fallen his way, but looks a lot more comfortable with Sylvestre in there. And of course, Laurent Blanc and Rio Ferdinand out of the side at the moment.
We've gone into stoppage time, I can tell you, at the Riazor. It's still 2 apiece there. Deportivo 2, Juventus 2. And Manchester United poised to top the table in Group D at the end of match day 7. It's going to be awfully difficult for FC Basel, travelling to Turin next to play Juventus.
Yeah, Juve will have felt that even drawing away is not a bad result at Deportivo La Coruña, but they definitely will count on 3 points against Basel.
Well, David May is desperately trying to come on here for Manchester United. No wonder he seldom sees much action these days. Not 100% fit either, May, but there for emergencies tonight, given the makeshift nature of the United defence, and he will replace Wes Brown.
Well, one hopes this isn't an injury situation. Brown, of course, has been injured a lot, but good slap on the back there, and there's the man of the hour, of course, Van Nistelrooy, but slaps on the back by the manager to Wes Brown for a very good second half.
Barbaris chasing after the ball on the left. And it's Duru's trying to keep it in play. Matuba with the throw. We've almost had the 3 minutes of time added on for stoppages. Barthez. Who would have believed that Manchester United, trailing 1-0 and being outplayed after 61 minutes, would go on to triumph here in such convincing fashion? We'll try to see off this final Basel raid. United have prevailed on match day 7 by 3 goals to 1. And Ruud van Nistelrooy, once again the hero. 7 goals in his last 4 competitive matches. 2 here tonight. The second was pure quality from a very acute angle. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer set up the first for Van Nistelrooy and scored the third.